I'm calling this meeting of the Department of Information Resources to order. The time is 10:01. Shelley, would you please take roll call?
Ben Gatsky. Jeffrey Allison.
Present.
Catherine Bella.
I'm present.
Frank Coppersmith. Stephen Frank Coppersmith.
Here.
Stephen Frankie.
Present.
Glenn Hager. Jeffrey Taon. Brian Collier. Melody Parrish.
Sorry, here.
David Yaskowitz.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. I've been designated as the presiding officer for the DIR Board Meeting by the Director, Chairman Ben Gatsky, in compliance with the Open Meetings Act. I'll be acting in the seat today and will direct this meeting in accordance with the requirements of the Open Meeting Act. The DIR Board Meeting has a hybrid meeting structure that is compliant with the Open Meeting Act. The meetings take place at the physical location identified by the DIR agenda, with me as the board presiding officer on this premise. The public may participate in the meeting either in person or in physical location or through Zoom at the Zoom link provided in the DIR agenda. For Zoom attendees, you may see and hear through Zoom, the video and the audio of the open meeting physical premise and of the DIR board members or speaking panelists who are participating by Zoom. For those in attendance at the William P. Clements Building, you will see that we have set up monitors and speakers to ensure that you may see and hear the video of any board member participating by Zoom. DIR staff presenting to the board at this meeting will present either in person or through Zoom. If a DIR employee is presenting through Zoom, you will see and hear their video and audio throughout the room by way of monitors and speakers that are set up. Members of the public who wish to address the board may do so either in person or through Zoom. If you plan to provide public comment in person, please ensure that you indicate your intent to do so on the sign-up sheet at the table by the entryway. For those of you participating by Zoom who indicated during the registration that you'd like to provide public comment, you will be called by name to do so later in the meeting. Until that time, all Zoom attendees will remain muted. This ensures an orderly process so that the board can hear your comments fully. The general chat function in the Zoom has been disabled to ensure DIR's compliance with Open Meetings Act requirements. Attendees, please do not attempt to communicate with the DIR board or each other through any Zoom messaging or questions and answers functionally that may be available to you. If you would like to address DIR board, please ensure that you indicate during your Zoom registration or on sign-up sheet by the door that you would like to provide public comment. Board members participating by Zoom, you must have your video on at all times to ensure compliance with the Open Meetings Act. However, please make sure that you are muted unless you are speaking. This will minimize disruption and echoes. You will need to unmute yourself when you're speaking or voting. DIR board members. Voting will be taken during this meeting by roll call. When you make or second a motion, regardless of whether you are on video or at the William P. Clements Building, please state your name clearly for the record. This ensures that the DIR staff have a reliable and accurate recording of the motions. Members, in your board books are the minutes from the May 2005 board meeting. You've had a chance to review them. Do any board members have any corrections to make to or discussion about the drafted board minutes? May I have a motion to approve the minutes?
This is Stephen Frankie, so moved.
May I have a second?
Catherine Bella seconds.
Any discussion? Shelley, please call the roll for a vote.
Catherine Bella.
Aye.
Frank Coppersmith.
Approved.
Stephen Frankie.
Aye.
Jeffrey Allison.
Aye.
Melody Parrish.
No.
I don't vote. Right.
Motion is passed.
On behalf of the board, I'd like to recognize the DR's Can Do Award winners for May, June, and July. The monthly Can Do Award recognizes a DIR employee nominated by their coworkers who exemplifies DIR core values. Winners receive 4 hours of administrative leave for outstanding performance, a can-do coffee mug, and a certificate recognizing their demonstrated commitment to the DIR's all hands on deck duty. DIR's May Can-Do Award winner was the Customer Experience Officer Bonnie Glending, nominated by Teresa Smith Hollis and Teresa Lopez. Bonnie is always ready to support DIR by making sure DIR's external presentations not only look professional, but are also helpful for our customers. Bonnie does a fantastic job of housekeeping everything consistent with the DIR brand and formatting in a way recognized as Bonnie's beautification process. In addition, Bonnie's coveted DIR branded templates are a lifesaver for DIR employees when they need to create something in a pinch. I would also like to recognize our May nominee, Ava Ruschmeyer. In June, the Office of the Chief Information Security Officer, Laura Rodriguez, nominated Susie Hillard and Linda Markey, received the Can-Do Award. Laura worked tirelessly for several months to ensure the success of the 26th Annual Information Security Forum conference held in May. She took this event head on, handled the planning and logistics of every aspect, and ensured everything was done on time and correctly. Laura executed the event professionally, efficiently, with great success. I'd also like to recognize our other June nominee, James Farano and Tony Fran. July's Can-Do Award winner was the Chief Operation Officer, Sally Ward, who nominated by Brittany Booth Taylor. Sally embodies the DIR's can-do spirit all day, every day, but her extraordinary contributions during the 89th legislative session really set her apart. She almost single-handedly tackled an unprecedented 185 fiscal notes, spearheading collaborative meetings with other agencies as needed, and applying her expertise to develop real-time solutions and save the state millions. All of this in addition to her already demanding responsibilities. Her efforts earned her the nickname Shelley Bot. Shelley doesn't just go the extra mile, she runs a full marathon. Our other April Can-Do nominee was Gloria C. Rivera and Meredith Knoll. Congratulations to our Can-Do winners and nominees. Thank you for all that you do for the DIR and the state. Ms. Crawford, may we have the report?
Absolutely. Thank you. Good morning, Chairman, board members. Thank you for joining us on our last board meeting of the fiscal year. Since we last met, the agency has been busy with end of fiscal year activities, implementation, planning for the recently passed legislation, and continued service delivery through our myriad programs. As you know from your review of the board book and the subcommittee meetings, we have a very packed agenda. And while some of you heard from our Chief Technology Office, Chief Experience Office, and Chief Data Office and Subcommittee, to save time, I'm going to give the entire board a brief update on those offices in lieu of individual presentations. As you can imagine, the Chief Technology Office is continuing to focus on AI education. The AI user group is now at nearly 800 public members and is continuing to grow. So this is, a fantastic effort that's really across the state at all levels of government. Our CTO team collaborated with the Health and Human Services Commission for an AI in Healthcare conference that was well attended and very successful. We also held AI Day #4 with Texas state agencies, local government entities, institutions of higher ed, and hospital systems presenting what they are working on currently with AI initiatives. And we also continue to have great success with our Innovation Lab initiatives. We are having consistent briefings and events every week with more than 40 agencies participating and over 50 areas of emerging technology that's been showcased. In addition, the Chief Technology Office team worked with our Chief Experience Office to host a CIO roundtable session on organizational change management. This is going to help agencies, many of them small agencies, with best practices in implementing new IT projects and the statutory requirements for the new biennium. Our Chief Data Office continues to make gains in their efforts to bring data to the forefront of agency consideration. Over the past quarter, they've had guest presentations at the Data Management Advisory Committee from the Office of the Attorney General, presenting on leveraging AI to strengthen data governance, and also the Department of State Health Services presenting on records management and data management workflows. The open data portal usage continues to increase and certainly did so over the last fiscal year. In fact, it increased so much that the hits to the open data portal in fiscal year 25 were greater than the 2 previous years combined. While there are several positive data-related changes from the past legislative session, one in particular stands out. So now agencies with fewer than 150 employees can share a designated data officer. This is going to allow agencies with greater resource constraints to still benefit from a person who is solely focused on data quality and data governance. What a great nod to government efficiency. Our Chief Experience Office continues to drive on outreach for DIR's program. These outreach activities include hosting 3 educational webinars last quarter, 15 customer training courses on doing business with DIR, 4 procurement conferences across the state, as well as support for projects and other projects within the agency. We hosted forums for small and medium-sized agencies, as well as for executive directors on recent technology legislation. And we also sponsored events with private sector partners, providing continuing education credit for state attendees. These initiatives collectively enhance our service delivery and our stakeholder engagement. And the statewide digital accessibility program, which helps state agencies make Texas government websites, IT, and technology services accessible to every Texan. We've grown program participation to include 285 public sector members, which is up from 30 members, which is up 30 members from last quarter. Our coffee chat attendance is averaging about 100 attendees per month, covering issues like the recent federal rule change for ADA accessibility compliance. And our digital online presence has seen significant growth. We've increased our followers and engagement across various social media channels, which showcases DIR's value and builds trust and credibility with our customer agencies and the public. It's important for people to know where to come for trusted technology information here in Texas. And by showing what's available on our contracts and promoting our programs, we help organizations achieve cost savings for taxpayers. By sharing best practices for IT and cybersecurity, we help increase the security posture and drive transformation. And this is just one of the ways to reach people, not only across the state, but across the nation, and showcase all that Texas has to offer. Finally, over the past fiscal year, DIR's customer experience program has evolved from a strategic intent into a practical, repeatable way of working. It's been a year of building not just tools, but trust. One of our CX workshops, such as the one that we facilitated for Texas Parks and Wildlife Department in July, has received very high satisfaction rates, showcasing the effectiveness of our team and their programs. This customer experience team has a roadmap to continue these efforts and drive an improved government experience for Texans across all agencies. Before I introduce to y'all our newest team members, I'll pause in case there's any questions that anyone might have on my update. Okay, hearing none, I'd like to introduce y'all to some of our new DIR employees who've joined since the last meeting. So in our, we have Elizabeth Kasongo, who's joined us as a cybersecurity analyst in our OCISO office, as well as Ashley Gilmore, also a cybersecurity analyst. Welcome to Elizabeth and Ashley to that team. And Bonnie Zuber joined us as a management analyst in the Chief Data Office. Next, we have Amy Thomas, who joins the Chief Procurement Office as a Contracts Administration Manager, as well as Carl Jackson and Tony Tolbert. Welcome to those folks. Lorena Romero joined our Chief Financial Office Telecom team as an accountant, as well as Jennifer Sandoval. And we also have Tracy Hernandez, who joined as an accountant in General Ledger Accounting. So welcome to those folks. We have joining then in our Chief Operations Office, we have Adele Bencheta, Margaret Ferdinand Huntley, Carlos Sanchez, and maybe the guy with the best name in the agency, Dante Wins. So welcome very much to that crew. We're glad to have y'all here. And I did want to highlight, although many of them have gone back to either high school or their educational careers in higher ed, I wanted to highlight for y'all some of the teams so you could see some of the faces of the this fantastic cohort of interns and volunteers that we had with us this summer. Some of these folks, a few of them that stand out, like Trinity and Miles and Alondra, have been here for quite a while, well over a year, I think, and they've actually been doing a rotation in different internships and seeing different things throughout the agency. Kenichi was also a return to us. He did work on the cyber team last year and then liked it so much that he came back. Reagan Kohler, I also want to do a shout out for him. He's been working in our chief procurement office as well. But this is those are some of our returns, or returns on the internship and folks who've stuck around. They've done a great job. We had high school volunteers as well. And it was really across all areas of the agency. So really proud of all the work these folks did. They're absolutely fine young men and women. And I feel like after working with them and seeing what they've done, that our future's in good hands. And to see these folks who are excited about public service. And I also want to give a shout out to our team in our People and Culture Office, Team Paco, who does such a great job to recruit these interns and volunteers and make sure that their experience at DIR is a good one. So big shout out to all these interns and volunteers, and we hope that some of them will return. And that concludes my remarks.
Thank you, Ms. Crawford. The next item on the agenda is the update from the Chief Procurement Office.
The full house. I had to walk from all the way in the back. So thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Lisa Masick. I'm the Chief Procurement Officer here at DIR, and get comfortable because I have quite the agenda for all of you. So bear with me. I will try not to talk too fast and I will try to enunciate, but I get nervous and I talk like a New Yorker, so I apologize. Anyways, next slide. So my first action item today is a recommendation for award for the enterprise contract for public cloud manager to NTT Data Americas Incorporated. The award to NTT Data Americas will provision, manage, and secure compute for all four public clouds: AWS, Azure, Google, and Oracle. The services include providing a cloud center of excellence and involving services throughout the life of the contract as technologies evolve in the public cloud market. Additionally, services include providing cloud-based productivity, collaboration tools, as well as other software as a service products upon customer request. Upon DIR board approval, the effective contract date will be the last signature issued upon execution and continuing through August 31st of 2030. Transition will begin September 1st, 2025 and continue through May 31st of 2026. The initial period of performance will run from August 31st, 2030, with the option to extend for 4 one-year renewals through August 31st of 2034. The anticipated contract value award based on customer consumption is estimated at $1,447 million for the full contract term, including all renewals. I ask the board to consider this action as presented.
If you make or second the motion, please identify yourself by name and turn on your video, and participating from another location by Zoom and camera not already on. May I have a motion to approve the recommended action?
This is Frank Coppersmith. So moved.
May I have a second?
Catherine Vella seconds.
Any discussion? Shelley, please call the roll.
Catherine Bella,
Aye.
Frank Coppersmith,
Aye.
Stephen Frankie,
Aye.
Jeffrey Allison.
Aye.
Motion is passed.
Next slide. My second action item is a recommendation for an enterprise contract award for the Multi-Sourcing Services Integrator, or MSI, to Capgemini Americas Incorporated. The award to Capgemini will provide comprehensive sourcing service integration across all STS service component providers and DIR customers, providing shared technology tools and program management. The key services will include IT service management, customer experience management, enterprise architecture planning, service evolution leadership, Texas.gov constituent help desk, SLA performance management, customer invoicing, and cloud financial performance optimization. Upon DIR board approval, the effective contract date will be the last signature, continuing through August 31st of 2030. Transition will begin September of 2025 and continue through August 31st of 2026. The initial period of performance will run through August 31st of 2030, with the option to extend the contract for 4 one-year renewals through August 31st of 2034. The anticipated contract value award for this award is $244,700,000 for the full contract term, including all renewals. I ask the board to consider this actions presented.
If you make or second the motion, please identify yourself by name and turn on your video if you're not participating from another location by Zoom and your camera is not already on. May I have a motion to approve the recommended action?
This is Stephen Frankie, so moved.
May I have a second?
This is Frank Coppersmith, seconded.
Any discussion? Shelley, can you call the roll for a vote?
Bella. Catherine Bella.
Aye.
Frank Coppersmith.
Aye.
Stephen Frankie.
Aye.
Jeffrey Allison.
Aye.
The motion is passed.
My next action item is a proposed amendment to the Symbio Ecosystem LLC's Support and Sourcing Transition Assistance Services contract for Sourcing Group 2. Symbio Ecosystems has provided sourcing, transition, implementation, and procurement assistance services to DIR for 5 STS procurements for Sourcing Group 2. The primary purpose of this proposed amendment is to combine the development of Texas private cloud and mainframe RFOs into a single solicitation, resulting in a reduction of costs to the agency. The contract was effective on August 30th, 2024, and the current performance period runs through January 4th of 2029. The amendment term does not change. The current contract value is $7,633,980. This amendment decreases that value by $523,869,000, and the amended contract value will be $7,110,111. I ask the board to consider this action.
If you make or second the motion, please identify yourself by name and turn on your video if you're not participating from another location by Zoom and your camera is not already on. May I have a motion to approve the recommended action?
Catherine Vella, so moves.
May I have a second?
Stephen Frankie, a second.
Any discussion? Shelley, please call the roll for a vote.
Catherine Bella.
Aye.
Frank Coppersmith.
Aye.
Stephen Frankie.
Aye.
Jeffrey Allison.
Aye.
The motion is passed.
My next item is actually a group of contracts for what we call Tex-An. The contract extension is for 6 of the 22 Tex-An contracts. The initial contract term was 4 years with the right to extend for up to 4 more years. These contract extensions are for 2 years, leaving us the right to renew them for up to 2 more years. These contracts provide telecommunications services for state agencies and local governments. Services include local and long distance phone services, cellular and wireless services, data services, including intranet, ethernet, MPLS, dark fiber, and managed telecommunications. Services are such as unified communication systems and call and connect center solutions. The contracts being extended here are Alpha Omega Wireless Incorporated, Cellco Partners, DBA Verizon Wireless, CenturyLink Communications LLC, DBA Lumen, Global Scope Communications Corporation, Hughes Network Systems LLC, and Insight Public Sector Incorporated. I ask the board to consider this action as presented.
If you make or second the motion, please identify yourself by name and turn on the video if you are participating from another location by Zoom and your camera is not already on. May I have a motion to approve the recommended action?
This is Stephen Frankie, so move.
May I have a second?
This is Frank Coppersmith, seconded.
Any discussion? Shelley, please call the roll for a vote.
Catherine Bella,
Aye.
Frank Coppersmith,
Aye.
Stephen Frankie,
Aye.
Jeffrey Allison.
Aye.
The motion is passed.
My next action is an amendment to the Managed Security Services with Science Applications International Corporation, or SAIC. The Managed Security Services contract provides for security monitoring, device management, incident response, and risk and compliance management. The current term is October 29th, 2024 through August 31st of 2029, and provides for renewals of up to 4 years through August 31st of 2033. The purpose of this amendment establishes a more granular pricing for endpoint detection and response, or EDR services, that will support the growing customer demand. And secondly, it adds resource units related to legacy hardware and maintenance needed for equipment transitioning from the incumbent vendors. The contract value, including optional renewals, is $1,733,000 million. This amendment increases the estimated total value by 9.7 million to 183.1 million. I ask the board to consider this action.
If you make or second the motion, please identify yourself by name and turn on the video if you're participating from another location by Zoom and your camera is not already on. May I have a motion to approve this action?
This is Stephen Frankie, so move.
May I have a second?
Catherine Bella seconds.
Any discussion? Shelley, please call the roll for a vote.
Catherine Bella,
Aye.
Frank Coppersmith,
Aye.
Stephen Frankie,
Aye.
Jeffrey Allison.
Aye.
The motion is approved.
Our next amendment is also for security operations contract with Science Application International Corporation, or SAIC. This contract provides for security, policy, oversight, monitoring, and data center services infrastructure. The current term commenced on March 16th of 2020 and was previously extended through March 31st of 2026. The purpose of this amendment is to exercise our final option to extend the term through August 2028. The contract value, including optional renewals, is $109,500,000. The value remains unchanged. I ask the board to consider this action.
If you make or second the motion, please identify yourself by name and turn on your video if you're participating from another location by Zoom and your camera is not already on. May I have a motion? May I have a motion to approve the recommended action?
This is Stephen Frankie, so move.
May I have a second?
Frank Coppersmith, seconded.
Any discussion? Shelley, please call the roll for a vote.
Catherine Bella,
Aye.
Frank Coppersmith,
Aye.
Stephen Frankie,
Aye.
Jeffrey Allison.
Aye.
The motion is approved.
Okay, our next action item is Amendment 12 to the Texas Private Cloud Contract with Atos. Atos Governmental IT Sourcing Services, LLC. This contract provides for server computing services, data center facilities, and network management for DIR customers. The contract term commenced on March 16th of 2020 and was previously extended through August 31st of 2026. The primary purpose of this amendment is to exercise our final option to extend the term through August 2028. This amendment also includes the addition of required services related to infrastructure reference architecture and clarifications to general technical support services, requests for solution requirements, and lease of data center services. The contract value, including all optional renewals, is $997,900,000. Through this amendment, the value decreases by $2.5 million to $995,400,000. I ask the board to consider this action.
If you make or second the motion, please identify yourself by name and turn on your video. If you're participating from another location by Zoom and your camera's already on, may I have a motion to approve the recommended action?
Catherine Bella, I so moved.
May I have a second?
This is Stephen Frankie, a second.
Any discussion? Shelley, please call the roll for vote.
Catherine Bella,
Aye.
Frank Coppersmith,
Aye.
Stephen Frankie,
Aye.
Jeffrey Allison.
Aye.
The motion is approved.
Our next action item is amendment number 7 to the mainframe contract, also with Atos. This contract provides for compute, storage, database management, and production operations for DIR customers. The current term commenced on March 16th of 2020 and was previously extended through August 31st of 26. The purpose of this amendment is to exercise our final option to extend the term through August of 2028. The current contract value, including all optional renewals, is $191,900,000. The value remains unchanged. I ask the board to consider this action.
If you make or second the motion, please identify yourself by name and turn on the video. If you're participating from another location by Zoom and your camera is not already on. May I have a motion to approve the recommended action?
This is Stephen Frankie, so move.
May I have a second?
Frank Coppersmith, seconded.
Any discussion? Shelley, please call the roll for a vote.
Catherine Bella,
Aye.
Frank Coppersmith,
Aye.
Stephen Frankie,
Aye.
Jeffrey Allison.
Aye.
The motion is approved.
Okay, our next item is amendment number 6 to the print, mail, and digitization contract with Xerox Corporation. This contract provides bulk print and mail services leveraging volume postal discounts as well as digital documents and document management systems. The current term commenced on March 16th of 2020 and was previously extended through August 31st of 26. The purpose of this amendment is to exercise our final option to extend the term through August 2028. This amendment also expands digital image services and includes updates to rate card categories. The current contract value, including optional renewals, is $142,500,000. Through this amendment, the estimated total contract value decreases by $651,000 to $141,400,000. This contract is funded through consumption services. I ask the board to consider this action as presented.
If you make or second the motion, please identify yourself by name and turn on your video. If you're participating from another location by Zoom and your camera is not already on, may I have a motion to approve the recommended action?
Frank Coppersmith, so moved.
May I have a second?
Catherine Bella, I second.
Any discussion? Shelley, please call the roll for vote.
Catherine Bella,
Aye.
Frank Coppersmith,
Aye.
Stephen Frankie,
Aye.
Jeffrey Allison.
Aye.
The motion is approved.
Last one. Here we go. This slide is our cooperative sales data for the third quarter of 2025, sorry. This slide summarizes sales through quarter three of fiscal year 25, cooperative contract purchases. As you can see, there are overall sales totaling $2.556 billion, which is a 2% or $48.9 million increase compared to the same period of fiscal year 24. We've seen channel spend consistent compared to the same quarter overall, with local governments, state agencies as our top contributors. Our top customers remain consistent. As for variances of spend, we are seeing an increase in spending of state agencies and higher ed. And that was my last item. Thank you for your patience.
Next on the agenda is the Chief Information Security Office update.
Hello, Mr. Chairman, board members, Tony Sauerhoff, State Chief Information Security Officer. Have some quarterly updates for you today, and we do have a couple of action items for you as well. So we're finalizing this week the next round of interagency contracts between DIR and the 3R SOCs that we have out there for the next biennium. The 3R SOCs at Angelo State University, UT Rio Grande Valley, and UT Austin. They'll cover the next 2 years, next 2 fiscal years. We wrapped up and launched the water and wastewater sector cybersecurity training that we did with Texas A&M Extension Service, TEAX. And we started development on a new sector-specific training focused on the electricity sector that we're working on with Texas Tech. And then we wrapped up the year 2 application reviews for the SLCGP, the state and local cybersecurity grant program. Governor's office has the committee funding recommendations and is making final funding recommendations for that grant program for year 2. Next slide, please. On here, I'll mention just that we just launching this week a vendor self-service platform for TexRamp vendors. We get hundreds of requests per month to make updates to vendor products, vendor POCs, and things like that within the TexRamp program. So this self-service portal will allow vendors to make those updates themselves. Next slide, please. This here is our LBB mandated goals for the fiscal year for security assessments and penetration tests. You see here, as of the end of Q3 for FY25, we were at 73% for security assessments. We did have a slight lull back there in Q2. That was during the legislative session, so that was expected. We are currently, as of today, at 44 for the FY, so we've exceeded the goal, but Q4 hasn't closed yet, so we don't have those numbers reported here. And then you see on the pen test side that we completed, we surpassed that goal of 50 by the end of Q3. Next slide, please. Okay, so the first of 2 action items we have is we've made an update to our security controls catalog. That's the document that sets the minimum security standards as defined by TAC 202. We made some updates to that document, and as per TAC 202 requirements, we did solicit those changes to the Information Technology Council for Higher Education, or ITCHE, as well as all the state agency ISOs and IRMs, information security officers, and information resources managers. And no comments were returned after that 30-day window of putting that out there for comment. Next slide, please. We got it right here. So here you see a list of the changes that we made. It's a combination of administrative updates and corrections in the previous version. But we did add 7 controls and enhancements, and those are just to better align our controls catalog with NIST's controls catalog, at least to the extent that because we are based on NIST and our security framework, our Texas cybersecurity framework, or TCF, is based on NIST's cybersecurity framework, but it's a subset of that. So our controls catalog is a subset of NIST's as well. So these additions here reflect updates to to NIST's catalog and align ours better with NIST. So I ask the board to consider this action as presented.
If you make or second the motion, please identify yourself by name and turn on the video. If you're participating from another location by Zoom, your camera is not already on. May I have a motion to approve the recommended action?
This is Stephen Frankie, so move.
May I have a second?
Catherine Bella seconds.
Any discussion? Shelley, please call the roll for a vote.
Catherine Bella,
Aye.
Frank Coppersmith,
Aye.
Stephen Frankie,
Aye.
Jeffrey Allison.
Aye.
The motion is approved.
So the last thing I have for you today, board members, is regarding the MSI SAC, or the Multi-State Information Sharing and Analysis Center. That's an organization that provides cybersecurity services to state and local entities across the country. They're currently about 18,000 members of the MSI SAC, and they're funded by the Department of Homeland Security. And earlier this year, due to funding cuts, MSI SAC lost not all, but a large portion of their funding. So they've had to develop a new model, which is a fee-based model, in order to keep providing services. We currently have about 15 or over 1,500 SLTT members in Texas at state, local, territorial, tribal government entities in Texas that are members of the MSI SAC, and over 450 of those are considered to be cyber underserved entities as well. So there's a statewide membership option that allows the state to pay one fee, and all of the SLTT members in the state are eligible to continue membership. Those 1,500 that are current members, as well as the over 5,000 other SLTT members in Texas that aren't members yet, but could be. The cost for FY26 for that is $1.2 million. That is assuming that the reduced federal funding will continue in this next FY. Federal FY starts October 1st, so we'll know more as we get closer to that. It is expected that the reduced funding will continue, and it's expected that that number will be $1.2 million. But you see here that if all federal funding is lost, that would go up to that $1,995,000 to cover the state. Next slide, please. So I ask the board to consider this action as presented.
If you make or second the motion, please identify yourself by name and turn on your video. If you're participating from another location by Zoom and your camera is not already on, I have a motion to approve the recommended action.
This is Stephen Frankie, so move.
May I have a second?
Catherine Bella will second.
Any discussion?
I have a question.
Sure.
Was there ever any consideration in case all federal funding was lost to just put a top end cap at 1.9?
For this here,
Yeah.
the assumption has been that that the $1.2 million will be, I'm sorry, that the federal funding will continue and the $1.2 million will cover it. So that's the way we've approached it.
Okay.
But I think to your point, should that not be the case, we'll need to revisit it and look and see it at what that would be.
Shelley, please call the roll for a vote.
Catherine Bella,
Aye.
Frank Coppersmith.
Aye.
Stephen Frankie,
Aye.
Jeffrey Allison.
Aye.
The motion is approved.
Unless you have any questions, board members, that's all I have today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is the update from the Chief Financial Officer.
Morning, Mr. Chairman and members, Nick Villalpando, Chief Financial Officer. If we can go to the next slide, please. So this presentation will provide an update on our third quarter operating results, and then we will also move into the discussion and presentation of our 2026 budget that we are bringing forward for the board's consideration and approval. So if we'll go to the next slide, please. So our operating results for third quarter through 2025 have been very positive. As you heard earlier from Lisa Masick in the Cooperative Contracts Program, we've had a slight uptick increase over prior year, same period in our cooperative contract sales. In addition to that, we've had about a 20% increase in consumption or utilization of our shared technology services over the same period last fiscal year. So from 435 million to 520 million through Q3 for shared technology services. And then we've also had seen some slight increases in our communications technology services program through the third quarter. So overall, continue to see consumption of DIR services by our customers increasing. And then in terms of our operating expenses, we're anticipating ending the fiscal year about 2.3 million under budget for our operating expenses. And then when we come back and present our Q4 results for you in October, we'll have some updated information there on how we ended up the fiscal year. But right now, we're projecting to be about 2.3 million under budget on our operating expenses. Next slide, please. Our fund balances continue to be maintained in sort of a healthy levels. As we've talked about before, to the extent that we have excess fund balances, kind of our working capital accounts, if you will, then we do have provisions within the General Appropriations Act that allows us to perform what's called a method of finance swap, where we can give back some of the general revenue that we've received for the delivery of cybersecurity services, and then use these other fee revenues to pay for the cybersecurity services. So the legislature has given us that flexibility to manage that budget, and then basically sort of refund, if you will, GR when it's not needed. So as we move into the discussion of our 2026 budget request, I just want to start off by saying or talking through the process, if you will. So we presented this information, had a discussion with the Audit, Finance, and Legal Subcommittee. We appreciate the subcommittee's leadership and guidance throughout the process. This is a fairly involved process, as y'all have that have been on the board for some time, in terms of starting off with the appropriations request last year that was submitted to the legislature. So a lot of effort has gone into this project, multiple DIR divisions, certainly feedback from our executive team and our executive director. So that's what's allowing us to bring this budget request to y'all today. So the 2026 budget proposal, again, as I mentioned, is based on our appropriations request that we submitted. And then also what the General Appropriations Act has come back. As y'all know, DIR is primarily a cost recovery agency. So we cover our operating expenses, the bulk of our operating expenses, with the fees that we charge our customers for DIR services. And so our fees, including the cost of services and operating expenses, are going to fluctuate throughout the year. So we monitor those throughout. And the budget that we're bringing forward to you today of our operating expenses is within that limit set by the legislature. Next slide, please. Next slide. So we start off determining the total operating expenses that we need to recover. We then forecast what we believe our customer demand for our service is going to be. And then from there, it's an algebraic exercise, if you will. So setting those fees based on the consumption levels that we believe are going to occur in the next fiscal year. And then, like I mentioned, come back to the board as necessary if there's a need to amend our budget throughout the fiscal year. We do not, again, going back to the concept of a cost recovery agency, since we do not receive all of our funding September 1st, we're not primarily a general revenue agency. we have to monitor those revenues and those collections coming in throughout the fiscal year in order to ensure that there's sufficient funds to cover all of our operating expenses. And so to the extent that there's revisions and budget amendments, should we need those, we'll come back to the board during the year to amend that. Next slide, please. So we'll talk for a few minutes about our administrative fees in our major programs, cooperative contracts. For next fiscal year, our average that we're looking at on the portfolio of all of our cooperative contracts, we anticipate being about 0.73%, so less than 1%. There is a 2% maximum set in the General Appropriations Act. We have never been at that level. We have historically been able to maintain those fees under 1% or below for all of them, for an overall average that's under 1%. And that's primarily driven by the efficiencies that we look for, and also sort of the volume of consumption that those customers are purchasing from DIR that allows us to keep those fees under that 2% legislatively set maximum. In Shared Technology Services, STS program, we're going to be maintaining our fees at 2.75% for the majority of those services. And we're going to maintain the reduction that we brought, that we first initiated last fiscal year, and we'll carry that forward for the technology solution services staff augmentation portion of that program. We had a fee reduction, and we're going to maintain that at 1% going forward through the fiscal year. When we look at our communications technology services, CTS, as you all know, delivers a range of services to our customers: Capitol Complex telephone system, Texan statewide telecommunications, wireless services. We break down internally for our fee setting. We break down those services into vendor provided services. So whenever customers are provisioning services through our programs with our underlying carriers, earlier you heard Lisa Masick talk about some of the Texan contracts that y'all voted on. So we added administrative fee on top of those services that our customers are buying. There's also DIR directly provided telecom services, like our management and provision of the Capitol Complex telephone system. And then we have several contracts that operate very similar to cooperative contracts, where our customers can go directly and purchase services off of existing pre-negotiated contracts to get services, telecom related services. One of the biggest ones is our wireless services. So they can go directly to a vendor that's on our contracts to get those services. Go to the next slide. So those fees, what do those fees look like? So those fees range. They range between 0.5% and 12%, depending on the program, and also based on the service type. At Texas.gov, as you know, that program allows constituents to go and conduct business with a host of governmental entities, not only state agencies, but local governments as well. And so those fees are set for each one of those service types. For example, when you go through and renew your driver's license, vehicle registration, et cetera, we've got a host of fees that are there. We're maintaining all of those fees consistent with prior years, so we don't anticipate any fee increases in the Texas.gov program. If we go to the next slide, this is just an overall view of sort of a budget highlights, or starts the view of our budget highlights. So total budget that we've brought forward, and again, all consistent and within the appropriations that are maintained or contained within the General Appropriations Act. Our total budget request is $962.7 million. Of that amount, $835.4 million is for what we look at as cost of services, or cost of goods sold, if you will. Those are payments to those underlying service providers that are delivering those services. So think of all the contracts that y'all were in discussions with earlier. So payments to those vendors: Atos, AT&T, the MSI, Capgemini, et cetera. So when customers are ordering those services through DIR, we need the underlying budget authority to then remit payments to those vendors. So the bulk of our budget, in this instance, about 87% of our budget, is based on payments that we're remitting to those service providers. based on the services that our customers are buying from us, or, again, we call them cost of services, you can think of it as cost of goods sold. 127.3 million of that budget, or about 13%, is related to our operating expenses. So the cybersecurity services that Tony talks about, that we deliver to our agencies and customers, that we don't charge them a fee for, we have received general revenue to be able to deliver cybersecurity assessments, penetration tests, and training, et cetera. We consider those as operating expenses because we're not charging the customers for those services. That's within that 127.3 million. Interestingly enough, those ratios that you see here, 87% for cost of services, 13% for our operating expenses, is consistent with prior year. So the ratios have kind of stayed consistent. They've sort of gone 90-10, 88-12, et cetera. So it's always been around that range for us. Few highlights. So what's in that 127.3 million? 74 million of that is for cybersecurity services. 34 million for salaries and personnel costs. Our cap, our full-time equivalent cap, was raised to 325 this last session. So we had a very successful session, and in terms of the benefits that the state leadership saw of the services that DIR provides, and agreed to increase our FTE cap. We also, from time to time, and as you heard earlier, we do get assistance and have external resources help us with our shared technology services, procurements, and market research and implementation. So anticipating about 4 million on that this year, 2.6 million to continue developing our e-procurement system, another 2 million to implement some information technology, service management workflows. There's also, it's not in the bullets here, but another 2.9 for our AI initiatives and our AI division that there was legislation passed for DIR to do that as well. So that's sort of the flavor of our operating expenses that we have here at the agency. The next slide is basically an income statement pro forma, if you will. We just kind of present that to give you that high level overview in terms of our revenue. And you see the cost of services that I spoke to earlier, the different funding sources that we have to keep track of based on the services that we're providing, and then our projection of fund balance, et cetera. But again, everything is within our appropriations request and the appropriations provided for in the General Appropriations Act. So at this time, board members and Mr. Chairman, I'll pause, see if there are any questions. Otherwise, would request the recommended motion. And again, want to thank everyone involved in developing the next year's budget, agency personnel, our executive management, executive director, and our board members and subcommittee.
If you make or second the motion, please identify yourself by name and turn on your video. If you're participating from another location by Zoom and your camera is not already on, may I have a motion to approve the recommended action?
Catherine Bella so moves.
May I have a second?
Stephen Frankie, a second.
Any discussion? Shelley, please call roll for a vote.
Catherine Bella,
Aye.
Frank Coppersmith,
Aye.
Stephen Frankie,
Aye.
Jeffrey Allison.
Aye.
The motion is approved.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is the internal audit update.
Good morning. I'm Terry Pierce, Internal Audit Manager for DIR. I have one item for the board to consider today, which is the annual audit plan. You go to the next slide, please. The annual risk assessment kicked off in June with input from DIR board members, executive leadership, and division heads. The risk assessment process is illustrated in this slide. I would like to take this time to thank the board for your input. It is very important for this process. Next slide. I'm recommending 3 audit projects and 3 audits and 5 audit projects for fiscal year 2026, which they're listed on this slide. And I'm asking the board to approve the annual audit plan.
If you make or second the motion, please identify yourself by name and turn on your video. If you're participating from another location by Zoom and your camera's not already on, may I have a motion to approve the recommended action?
This is Stephen Frankie, I so move.
May I have a second?
Frank Coppersmith, second.
Any discussion? Shelley, please call the roll for a vote.
Catherine Bella,
Aye.
Frank Coppersmith,
Aye.
Stephen Frankie,
Aye.
Jeffrey Allison.
Aye.
The motion is approved.
And the entire audit plan can be found in your board book, I believe on page 381. Next is my annual attestation that I have sufficient resources to carry out this audit plan and that I continue to have organizational independence. And that concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Next on the agenda is some additional considerations.
Good morning, Chairman, members, Steve Peer, Deputy Executive Director. I have the privilege of coming before you today to seek the approval of a raise for our Executive Director, Amanda Crawford. This raise is different than any in the past. It was provided in the General Appropriations Act without DIR seeking. It's highly unusual to see this. This well-deserved increase is for $3,982 per year. And I respectfully recommend the board approve the legislatively appropriated increase to the executive director's annual compensation.
Congratulations. If you make or second the motion, please identify yourself by name and turn on your video if you're participating from another location by Zoom and your camera's not already. May I have a motion to approve the recommended action?
Catherine Bella, so moves.
May I have a second?
Stephen Frankie, I second.
Any discussion? Shelley, please call the roll for a vote.
Catherine Bella,
Aye.
Frank Coppersmith,
Aye.
Stephen Frankie,
Aye.
Jeffrey Allison.
Aye.
The motion is approved.
Thanks, y'all.
The next item on the agenda is the Chief Operations Office update.
Well, good morning, Chairman, members of the board. My name is Dale Richardson, Chief Operations Officer here at DIR. And the good news is I don't have any board action items. What I do have is a report on our service delivery for Q3 FY25 on our shared technology services and our communication technology services programs. Starting with the shared technology services, this chart measures the percentage of service level agreements or SLAs attained each month by our service providers in the STS program. This covers roughly over 400 individual SLAs that are measured per quarter. And for Q3 FY25, we achieved 98% service level attainment. Next, looking at our monthly customer satisfaction, this chart shows the number of customers that rate the overall service they receive as acceptable, good, or excellent each month. For Q3 FY25, we had another excellent quarter, achieving an average of 99% customer satisfaction. However, we did have one customer rate the program a 1 overall in March, and we immediately went to work to correct those issues to the customer's satisfaction. Now looking at our communications technology services, we continue to work with the Texas Facilities Commission on the designs and specifications to provide voice and data services to the 2 new Capitol Complex buildings going up right next door that way. Yeah. The cabling solicitations for the installation of both the fiber and the copper are out for bid and will be awarded in the first quarter FY26, at which point we'll be able to begin the implementation of cabling out the fiber and all the different offices. And from my understanding, those buildings are still on schedule to be completed in 2027. The next slide depicts a major network refresh project that replaces our existing 100 gig network routers here on the Capitol complex. The team has been working over the past several weekends on the refresh of the 100 gig network and actually have completed this project 2 months in advance. So that was really good work. The next slide shows the completed work orders by our communications technology services team. The first chart shows the orders that are placed by our customers for DIR build network services. And you can see in Q3, we completed 680 orders. The next chart there shows the work orders completed for our centralized managed voice system on the Capitol complex. And so for Q3, we completed 706 work orders. And the last chart shows the number of the cabling projects DIR completed for our state agencies. And that team completed a total of 73 projects in Q3. And finally, this next slide shows the number of Texan customers and DIR direct build purchases. The pie chart on the left shows for Q3, our customer base increased 2% from the previous quarter. And the pie chart on the right shows Q3 FY25 Texan purchases being up 3% from Q3 a year ago. And this completes my presentation. Happy to answer any questions. All right, thank you.
The next item on the agenda is the Chief Technology Office update.
Actually, Mr. Chair, we are all done since I provided those updates. So,
Thank you for that.
sure. And in what may be record time for an August board meeting.
Brevity.
Yes.
Does anyone wish to provide public comment? When you walk into the room or register for this meeting through Zoom, you are noted whether you wish to make a comment. At this time, DIR will identify those who signed up to provide public comment by name. If the person intends to provide public comment through Zoom, DIR will unmute the individual's microphone once their name has been called.
No one signed up.
May I have a motion to adjourn?
Catherine Bella, so moves.
May I have a second?
Stephen Frankie, I second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. He's adjourned.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.